So guys, as I was telling you, in order to transform a sentence from active voice to passive voice, we need to pay attention to 4 different aspects. First, you need to have a direct object, okay? Second, you're going to move the direct object to the subject position, and the subject may move to the predicate, or you may omit it. We will talk about omitting the subject in some minutes. That's number 2. Number 3, you need to check that the verb, tense, aspect, modality of the verb are the same. And the 4th aspect is this. You are going to use always a form of verb to be in the transformation into passive voice. The form of verb to be is going to correspond to the same form of the principal verb in active voice. And what is going to happen to the verb, to the principal verb from active voice when you transform it into passive voice? Well, what we are going to do is to use the past participle of that verb. Now, allow me to show you guys. Here we have on our left the verbs in active voice. Refute, may have finished, will investigate, stitched, is going to renew. Now, to turn this into passive voice, you need to check the form of this verb. What form is this? It's in present. So what form is going to take the verb to be in passive voice? It's going to take the present form. So I'm going to use is, or are, or of course, am. And what are we going to do with the principal verb? We are going to use the past participle form, is refuted. Make sure not to confuse the past form of the verb and the past participle, right? Especially, well, not especially, with irregular verbs, okay? Because remember that irregular verbs, they have sometimes the past participle is the same as the past form, but sometimes it is not. Next, verb form, may have finished. What form is the principal verb in? Okay, I want you to check that we have this modal, may, and we have this modal, have, and we have the verb, the principal verb, finished. So I need to use verb to be in this form, which is past participle, right? And I am going to use these modals as well. Because again, it is not a transformation, it is not a new verb. Passive voice is not a verb, it's a voice, right? So I'm going to use the same modals, the same form of the principal verb. So if this is a perfective form, yes, I am going to use verb to be in a perfective form. And I also need to use this auxiliary, this modal verb may. So I'm going to say may have the past participle of verb to be, being, and I'm going to repeat the past participle, finished. As you can see, may have been finished. Will investigate. What form is this? This is modal will, okay? Future, will investigate. Now when I turn verb to be, better said, when I turn this verb into passive voice, I am going to use will, yes? The form of this verb is the base form, so I'm going to use the base form of verb be, which is the same, of course. Will be, and the past participle of this verb, investigated. Will be investigated, right? Stitched is in the past, in the simple past. Excuse me. So I am going to use verb to be in simple past. I am going to say was or were, depending on the subject, okay? On the new subject that I am going to be using in passive voice, okay? Remember, there must be a subject-verb agreement. And the form of was or were is going to depend on the new subject. So I say was or were, and the past participle of stitched, which is stitched, is going to renew. I am expressing future with going to. So I'm going to express future for verb to be with going to as well. Is going to, and this is in the base form, so I'm going to use verb to be also in the base form. Is going to be and then I use the past participle of renew, is going to be renewed. And that's how we do the transformation of the verb into passive voice. As you can see, it's not really that complicated, okay? You just need to pay attention to this rule. Verb to be in passive voice is going to take the same form of the principal verb in active voice. You are going to maintain the modals that you are using, you are going to maintain the same tense, right? And then you are going to copy the same form of the principal verb. In this case, it's past participle, so I'm going to use verb to be in past participle. In this case, it is in the base form, so I'm going to use verb to be in the base form. In this case, it is in past, so I'm going to use verb to be in past. In this case, the principal verb is using future with going to, so I'm going to use verb to be with going to as well. And what I do with the principal verb is simply to use its past participle form, right? And that's it. That's what we do. Now, when do we omit the agent? Guys, this is not a matter of grammar. This is more of a composition issue. This is a stylistic matter. Of course, there are certain pointers when we should keep or omit the agent. For example, if the agent is unimportant, then usually we don't omit it, because if we kept the agent in passive voice, it's going to sound a little dumb, okay? Our sentence would sound a little dumb, or it might make the people to whom we are talking feel a little dumb. Supercomputers were developed to solve complex problems. Yes, the developers of the supercomputers is not relevant for the speaker and for the audience, so I am not going to use the agent, right? I'm not gonna say supercomputers were developed to solve complex problems by developers of supercomputers. It's not really important, it's not really relevant, so I'm not gonna use it, okay? Now, if I don't know the agent, of course I'm not gonna use it, right? This package was left on my desk. Who did it? Who left it on your desk? I don't know, so don't say it. I'm not gonna say this package was left on my desk by someone. Of course someone did it, but because I don't know who that someone is, again, it's not conducive to transmitting the message, so I'm not gonna use it, right? Now, sometimes the agent is obvious as well, so I'm not gonna use an obvious agent because it feels like we are dumbing down our sentence. It feels like we are a little dumb when we say something that is obvious, or it feels that we consider our audience to be a little dumb, that they need to be explained this issue, right? So the mail is delivered at noon. Who delivers it? Well, the mail carrier delivers it. So of course I'm not gonna say it because it's really irrelevant for our sentence, right? Also, if the agent is general, I'm not gonna use it either. ID photos are being taken today. So I'm not gonna use words like people, someone, they are usually not included in passive voice when they are acting as agents, because they don't contribute to making the sentence more conducive towards transmitting the meaning effectively. Sometimes you don't use the agent because you are actually hiding it. You don't want to say who did something for different reasons, right? So your Blu-ray was scratched. That's the example. Your Blu-ray was scratched by my cat, which you hate. So that's why I'm not gonna tell you that the cat did it, because you already hate my cat and I don't want to have problems with you, right? So I don't want to take responsibility, or I want to avoid blaming another person, or in this case, a cat, right? So sometimes I don't want to say who did something. It's a matter of style, guys. I've told you this already. It depends on what you want to say, on what you want to share. Now, when do we include the agent? If the agent provides additional or new information, then yes, let's include it. You will be notified about the exam date by the teacher assistant. Oh, that's new. Okay, that's relevant. That's important. Or to complete the meaning of a sentence, or to add important information, especially if we are using a proper noun. Washington, D.C. was designed by Pierre L'Enfant, right? Okay, that's important. Oh, I didn't know that Pierre L'Enfant had done that. So yeah, I want to know that. My audience might want to know that. And let's talk about special cases. One of the special cases is when we have both objects, direct objects and indirect objects. When that happens, it's very likely that we may use either the direct object or the indirect object as the subject of the new sentence in passive voice. Sometimes the structure of the sentence, or depending on the wording of the indirect and the direct object, we might want to use only the direct object as the subject or the indirect object as the subject, right? Again, it depends. It's a matter of style, but it's also a matter of transmitting the message in the most effective manner. So check it out. Robert will be bought a motorcycle to pay him for his silence. The indirect object is being used in this case as the subject of the new sentence. Or a motorcycle will be bought for Robert to pay him for his silence. In this case, the direct object is acting as the subject. It depends, guys. Sometimes both are possible, sometimes only one is possible. It is a matter of each individual sentence. I cannot give you specific, clear rules that say always the two possibilities are okay. No, sometimes it's not. And the second consideration is that perfective continuous forms are not usually used in passive voice because they become too wordy. Not because they are ungrammatical, it's just that they are too wordy and we want to avoid wordiness. So instead of using the continuous forms, instead of using the past perfect continuous, I'm going to use simply past perfect. Instead of using the present perfect continuous, I'm going to use the present perfect, and I think you get the idea, right? Check this example. Joanna's husband has been calling her at Amanda's salon for more than 3 hours. Has been calling, yes? Present perfective continuous. So in passive, if I say Joanna has been being called by her husband at Amanda's salon for more than 3 hours, it's too wordy. So it's better if I say Joanna has been called by her husband at Amanda's salon for more than 3 hours. It's a more effective sentence because it uses less words in the verb, right? So perfective progressive forms, let's not use them in passive voice. And guys, that is all that I wanted to talk to you about passive voice in these two videos. And the information in the lesson plan is much more extensive. You can read that material. You can also rewatch these videos, of course, if you feel that it is more to your liking to watch the videos and not to read the lesson, although I will recommend you check the lesson as well. Okay guys, that's going to be all for me on passive voice, and again, check the exercises on the lesson, and I hope you have a nice day, guys. I'll see you around on the next topic. Okay, bye bye everyone.